The Non-Duality of Nisargadatta Maharaj. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, born Maruti Shivrampant Kambli, was an Indian spiritual teacher and enlightened master who gained prominence in the 20th century. He was born on April 17, 1897, in the Maharashtra district of India. His early life was relatively ordinary. When his father died in 1915, Nisargadatta moved his family to Bombay, now Mumbai. There he opened a string of small shops with his brother selling mainly cheap, leaf-rolled cigarettes, called bidis. In 1923 he married, and over time he and his wife had 3 daughters and a son. Despite his lack of formal education, he possessed a keen intellect and was well read in spiritual texts such as the Bhagavad Gita and various scriptures from different traditions. In 1933, at the age of 36, Nisargadatta commenced what would be a transformative spiritual experience. It was in that year he met Siddharameshwar Maharaj, a guru in the tradition of Inchagiri Sampradaya. His guru instructed him to meditate on the mantra of I am, the fundamental feeling of existence. He meditated on this whenever he had spare time in his busy life supporting his family. Unfortunately, Siddharameshwar died 2.5 years later in 1936, and following his death Nisargadatta wandered across India on a personal pilgrimage to further his spiritual quest. After 8 months he decided to return home, and on this journey home he came to the sudden realization of his true nature as the formless consciousness underlying all existence. After this realization, he dedicated his life to sharing his insights with earnest seekers and helping them awaken to their own true nature. He kept one of his shops to continue an income for his family, and in the humble apartment attached he built a mezzanine level to meet visitors seeking guidance. He engaged in dialogues with visitors from all walks of life, answering their questions and guiding them towards self-realization. His teachings gained recognition both within India and internationally, primarily through the publication of his conversations and dialogues. Although many of his disciples recorded and collected his words, it was one in particular, Maurice Friedman, who translated the words into English for publication. One of his most renowned books is I Am That. This book has become a spiritual classic and attracted an even larger number of visitors. Nisargadatta joked, I used to have a quiet life, but that book I Am That by Maurice has turned my house into a railway station platform. Despite his own profound realization, Nisargadatta always remained approachable and down to earth. He continued to operate his small shop, selling inexpensive goods, as a means of supporting himself and his family. He did not establish any formal organization or seek personal fame or wealth. His teaching style was characterized by simplicity, directness, and a focus on self-inquiry and non-dual awareness. He encouraged individuals to investigate their own sense of identity and question their deeply ingrained beliefs and concepts. He emphasized the importance of recognizing one's true nature beyond the transient phenomena of the body, mind, and ego. Throughout his life, he worked tirelessly to guide seekers towards self-realization and liberation. His teachings have had a profound impact on countless individuals, and his influence continues to resonate in the realm of spirituality and non-dual philosophy. His primary message revolved around the notion that one's true nature is not the body, mind, or ego, but rather the formless consciousness that transcends these temporary aspects. He emphasized that self-realization is not a matter of gaining something new, but rather of recognizing and abiding in one's true nature, which is already present. Nisargadatta's humble lifestyle and his straightforward teachings attracted many sincere seekers. And he became known as a Jivan Mukta, which means a liberated being while alive. He retired from working in his shop in 1966 but continued providing guidance to his disciples and visitors until his death. During the later stages of his life, his health deteriorated due to throat cancer, and he faced difficulties with speaking. It is reported that he experienced significant discomfort and physical limitations as a result of the disease. Despite these challenges, it is said that he continued to engage in silent communication with his disciples and visitors through his presence and gaze. While he may not have been able to speak extensively, his teachings and presence were often described as powerful and profound, transcending the need for verbal communication. Nisargadatta's teachings are deeply rooted in non-dual philosophical concepts, particularly in the tradition of Advaita Vedanta. Non-duality is the understanding that there is ultimately no fundamental separation or duality between the self and the world, or between the individual and the divine. Here are some key ways in which his teachings closely align with non-dual philosophical concepts. These concepts include non-dual awareness, the illusory nature of the self, transcendence of duality, self-inquiry, the limitations of concepts and words, and the importance of direct experience and living in the present moment. Nisargadatta emphasized that our true nature is not limited to the individualized egoic identity, but is instead the formless, boundless consciousness that underlies all phenomena. He taught that this consciousness is universal and non-dual in nature, encompassing everything that arises within it. To quote, "The consciousness in you and the consciousness in me, apparently two, really one, seek unity, and that is love." He pointed out that the sense of a separate self, or ego, is illusory and a product of identification with the body, mind, and conditioned beliefs. He emphasized that the true self is beyond any conceptual constructs or limited identities. He taught that the ultimate truth lies beyond the play of opposites and dualities. He encouraged seekers to go beyond the realm of subject-object relationships and recognize the inherent unity and oneness that permeates all of existence. He said, "When I say I am, I do not mean a separate entity with a body as its nucleus. I mean the totality of being, the ocean of consciousness." Central to his teachings was the practice of self-inquiry. He encouraged individuals to investigate the nature of their own being, asking the question, "Who am I?" or "What is aware of this experience?" This inquiry helps to direct attention inwardly, leading to the recognition of the formless, aware presence that is the true self. It is interesting to note how closely this technique of self-inquiry ties in with Ramana Maharshi's method of asking, "Who am I?" Nisargadatta emphasized the limitations of concepts, beliefs, and words in capturing the essence of reality. He pointed out that the truth cannot be fully expressed or understood through intellectual understanding alone, as it transcends all conceptual frameworks. To quote, "Words can only give you knowledge, and knowledge is not what you seek. You seek the source of knowledge, not the knowledge itself." Nisargadatta stressed the importance of direct experiential realization over mere intellectual understanding. He encouraged seekers to go beyond conceptual knowledge and to directly abide in the pure awareness that is their true nature. While focusing primarily on the inquiry into the nature of self, he also emphasized the importance of living in the present moment. He famously said, "The secret of being happy and contented is to live in the present moment, accepting it as it is, and not worrying about the past or the future." Overall, Nisargadatta Maharaj's teachings align closely with the non-dual philosophical concepts, emphasizing the transcendence of duality, the illusory nature of the separate self, and the realization of the formless, universal consciousness that underlies all of existence. His teachings provide practical guidance and insight into the nature of reality, pointing towards a direct experience of non-duality and the liberation that comes with it. He continued to teach until his passing in 1981 at the age of 84, in Mumbai, India, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and spiritual guidance that continues to inspire people to this day. His teachings have had a profound influence on a number of modern-day spiritual teachers, including Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, Adyashanti, Wayne Dyer, and Deepak Chopra. Although he had lost his voice towards the end of his life and had no last words, One of his famous quotes on death shows that he didn't see it as an ending. He said, "Death is only the end of a chapter. It is not the end of the book." Thanks for watching.